to the small humans out there. The time has finally come for the official reintroduction to this channel, since it's the late autumn/fall of 2022. Why another introduction? Well, the first video, if you have ever looked at it, had a few problems with glitches caused by YouTube during the upload. Sure, I could have taken it down and redid it that very day, but I knew by then text would only take me so far and human attention span so far that talking would be more beneficial. This video will most likely just be the same as the first introduction, so it's not entirely compulsory to watch this one. But however, there are a few things mentioned in this video that haven't been mentioned in the first introduction, so maybe you might want to stick around and see what this video has to offer. So, as stated throughout social media, the Shy Guy is a blogger of wonders. And what does that mean exclusively? Well, just videos on all kinds of things by my interests, of course. Let's take a look at that. Another note is that the Shy Guy is not the same as the Invisible Man. Yes, the design was inspired by the 1933 film, but the concept is a little different, which will be explained in depth at some point in later videos. Now that I think about it, probably when I start to introduce actors, films, and all that, which is one of my interests. However, I might give a small sort of teaser as to what the Shy Guy is meant to be, considering the fact that The Invisible Man 1933 is about a scientist who, I wouldn't say the experiment goes wrong, but he turns invisible, in a way. The Shy Guy is a spirit that got trapped between the timelines. It was probably meant to more or less be born within the 20th century, but I guess maybe there was some form of complications and it got stuck between Generation Z, which is fine because, to most of their knowledge, it's not such a bad idea after all, that they could educate the wonders of the 20th century to the new generations. All that on pronouns and genders and sexualities and all that yada yada yada. That stuff is not really relevant to the Shy Guy, but for some we have had to put pronouns in for whatever you want to call the Shy Guy, but the Shy Guy is genderless. Spirits can't have genders as far as the Shy Guy goes, but you know, if you want to be one of those people, you can be one of those people. It's fine by me. I'm not really gonna correct you on that if you want to call it whatever you want to call it. So yes, now that I think about it, I'll probably explain the Shy Guy's concept in further detail when we introduce actors, which will probably be sometime maybe this time next year or 2 years from now, who knows. Films, actors, and the glories of the 20th century. All starting with the film Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. It didn't take much of the plotline to do the trick. Not a particularly good film, despite the fact that a lot of people do like it, and the fact that it is relevant to today's generation and politics of what's going on now. Except we won't dive too much into politics because we all know what politics is like when it comes to people. And we all know what people think of politics. From the brilliance of Mr. Sellers' 3 characters, to Sterling, George, and heck even the smaller ones like Creeley and Bull. Full names will also be refrained from being said, which will also be explained in later videos. So yes, the actors from the film that branched off into more and different films, exploring actors from far and wide. Forgotten stars if you like. When it comes to the 20th century actors, people might mostly think of old Hollywood, which includes of your typical Mr. Peck, Bogart, Mason, Bogart, or the females such as Crawford, Hepburn, Audrey, or Catherine, or Monroe for that matter. I can't name a lot of them at the top of my head because I'm not really into old Hollywood as it is. I'm aware of some of them, but right now they're not really as interesting as they are to most people. So in general, really, I'm for the lesser known English actors, and at least maybe over the past year or so, We have gotten into Canadian actors as well of the 1980s, which has been an interesting journey, I have to say. Another interest, if you haven't already noticed on my page, is Eurobeat. As being inspired by a few Eurobeat listeners and enthusiasts in the community around, as well as Initial D, which I will explain in a few seconds, I have been dabbling in wanting to explore it, more or less the roots of Eurobeat, which is Italo disco, and a few other genres like Eurodisco, Eurodance, house, maybe not less house, but it's probably maybe the best described as a sort of huge umbrella with lots of little terms underneath. These aren't really concrete facts. Don't take my word for it, because there is not a lot of information about Eurobeat as to what it is, where does it come from entirely, and everything. So, not concrete facts, mostly just opinions from me. But I think it should be explored a lot more. Gatekeeping is not the term I want to be using, but a lot of people that come to listen to Eurobeat is mostly the sort of Initial D genre. I mean, the Initial D anime or memes, because we all love memes and we all love meme songs. I will be explaining my journey into Eurobeat in the next video, which is the start of the series that I have been planning for the past year or so. It is called Kickstart Eurostar, and the main gist of that is to gather information about albums and album series that have happened throughout the entire genre, and to sort of branch out into different paths that one can take and discover into new artists or new labels or different styles that are different from Initial D as it is. You know, you've got the very early Eurobeat of the 1990s, and you've got the Eurobeat of now, which both sound very different. And I think that's mainly the other thing, is that Eurobeat has sort of 3 generations of styles, which I wouldn't really be able to explain much because, again, I don't have concrete facts and it would mostly be based on opinions, but I will be explaining this a lot more in further videos. But yes, which also leads on to these 2, well, now 3 animes. Initial D, Wangan Midnight, and MF Ghost, which is the sequel to Initial D, if you didn't already know that. I feel like they would mostly be reaction videos, but I might do a few discussions here and there, but we'll have to see. One point I want to make is that I am not so much as a car enthusiast. The only thing I can do when it comes to cars is just comment on whether it looks good or not. Things about aspects and the technicalities of it, and, you know, the characters explaining tiny little details of cars, I'm not going to really be able to understand that. But I think that will probably just be the different part of it, is to sort of just have a fun time and just comment on characters, the songs, the plot lines, and different arcs and so forth. So something a bit different, maybe not a bit different, maybe someone's done it before and I'm not aware of it, but there's only so much content that can be created in the world that they're bound to be similar at some point. And last but not least, traveling. There's quite a list of places I'd like to see. However, I know almost definitely that that's not going to happen until the far, far future. I'm studying right now until 2023. Hopefully I can go to Japan. We all know mountain passes for Initial D. Tokyo itself, but you've also got other places like the gardens of Kyoto, and then there's so much, you know, and then there's just so much, mostly to do with the culture, the food, and while it's everyone's dream to go to Japan, isn't it? But we're studying right now money, politics. Politics is not going to be discussed here, but if you know me, you know me. But I believe traveling is essential, and we should encourage it back into society. You know, it's not offensive, it's not wrong. traveling does no harm to nobody. In order to just explore the world and explore ourselves, and there's just so much more really that you can learn from it. Quick list of places I'd want to go and see, not in any particular order. Don't think I'd be able to get to every single place on my bucket list, but the challenge would be worthwhile to an extent. Japan, like I just mentioned, Czech, Russia, 50 states of America, Germany, the Scandinavian archipelago, Denmark, Sweden, Norway. Probably most parts of Europe at this point, if I'm thinking about it. Italy, Austria, maybe Australia itself. And definitely more parts of the United Kingdom, or well, less quote-unquote Great Britain as it is. That's it really, where 99.9% of YouTubers will say like, subscribe, and comment down below. But that's your choice really, I won't be forcing it upon anybody. Though, social media, links down below in the description, links in the about section of this channel, and she'll be seeing you in 2 weeks on Sunday for the first episode of Kickstart Your Star. And hopefully that will go a lot better than this video has gone. Without further ado, I hope you'll stick around for the content to come.